So for this video, I will be showing how to create a layout, your own layout that can be any size, that can represent different objects that you can also create. Okay, and everything starts here with this VI, layout generator. So we run it, and then here you can create your own application. So for example, in your layout, what you can have your walls of your environment, you can have the object, you can have the move points. And through these tabs here, you can select which characteristic you want to add to your layout. So for example, let's start for the walls. Here you can set the coordinates that define your walls. So for example, I start one wall in 000. Let's go here to 2000. Next. Okay, so by default we already have these walls here that you can remove if you want. So for example, let me remove. So you can click here, right click, you can remove the walls that were here already. Okay, and then we can insert this one here. Okay, so it's already inserted, so you can take a look here, all the elements that you're adding to your project. Here I will also create a new one, so from 2000 to 2000, okay, I insert, so you can take a look here that I'm adding, and let's make like a square, so 2000 to, let me see, so I'm here, where am I? I'm here, so I want to go to 2000, right? So here I can zoom in and zoom out, so let's say for example 0.5. 0.25. Okay, so you can see better the information. So here you can insert, and now from 0 to 1000 to 00, and I insert. Okay, so that's my layout to be a square 2000 millimeters per 2000 millimeters. And then I can also insert objects. For inserting objects, I need to add to your system, so I can get the objects here. And then now I already created some objects. So for example, let's take like, here's regarding the WorldSkills competition 2022 challenge. So here we have like the elements that you would have in the layout. So for example, let me take the green stand here. Okay, so if you come here, now you have the green stand available to add. So I set the coordinates, so I want this stand to be in 550 Y. Okay, here put the orientation, so it's facing up. It means that your robot must be facing down to see this object. And then here you can put a name, so I can put, for example, G1, green one. Okay, this distance is the distance that you want your robot to stop regarding this object. So for example, I want my robot to stop 300 millimeters in X and 50 in Y to this object. Okay, then I insert, so now I have this object in my environment. So if I come here and try to add a new one, you'll see that the one that I put before will be stuck, will be already in my environment, and then I can add new objects to this environment. Okay, I can also add movement points, so I can determine the point of movement that my robot can do later on. I can create a name. Okay, and I insert. And you can also change the information through this tab here. So for example, I could change this move point coordinate through this guy. I can delete, I can add, I can manipulate the information through this tab here too. Okay, and here you can select like one object to be your robot. So, but let's say that I already have a layout and I want to keep working on this layout. I want to save this information. So I can also save and import a previous layout that I already created. Okay, so here if you take a look is the layout used for the competition, and then here all the information, so all the objects, all the walls that you would need for this environment, and the move points that I selected for this environment. So the name is Shanghai. You could also change this name here. And then I imported this layout, and I can change this layout. So I can add informations. I can, for example, I can come here and change one of the walls. So let's see, for example, this wall here. I can change here, my environment will change. I can change the width, the thickness of this wall. I can change the color if I want. So for example, I want it to be red. Okay? And then this will be part of my layout. Once you click in save, if you click save here in file, save, it will update the file with these new informations that you add to your environment. So later on, once you import again this layout, will be updated with the new informations that you add. If you want to create a new object, you click here. So create edit object. Okay, I can open previous objects or create a new one. So how it works to create, you put here, you define the dimensions of your object. So for example, let's make 100. Here, let's make minus 100. I make like a rectangle. Minus 100, minus 30, 100, and then I back to the initial one. Okay, you can fill this object. You can change the thickness of this object. You can change the color if you want. So let me fill, for example, here. Here you have the reference point. So later on, once we run the simulation, it will use this reference point to determine the positions that the robot needs to be facing this object, to stop in front of this object, to stop near to this object, to determine if you have a collision with this object. So everything we use this reference point here. Okay, and then you can also configure the characteristics in your layout. I can click here and add shape. So add the shape will add the shape here, add twice, but it's fine. So it will add this shape. It means that I can put more shapes. So for example, let's say that I will do a smaller rectangle inside. So I create a new rectangle that I want to be inside the other one. So let's make like half the dimensions with a different color. Okay, so here's the previous one that was added here, and here's the new one. I add shape, so I added the shape to my new object too. It means that I can add a new shape, and then I will keep this green and this red one. If you click here, you show you the current one that you're creating. Okay, so for example, let's make like let me see. Let's make like a rectangle. To make a rectangle instead of this guy. Oh, better. Let me see. I want it to be, let me see the other one. Then I want this new one to be inside the other guy. So I want, instead of minus, so in X I keep, but then this one here, instead of 50, make it as 0. So yeah, this guy, I add shape. So this new shape is here, and they were all put together. Okay, here I can edit, so I can remove, for example, let me delete this first one that was duplicated. You select the index of the object, you click in view, so you visualize which the object that this index here, and then you can delete, replace, you can swap object here. So now I deleted, we don't have that duplicated anymore. Okay, I want to save, so we can find a directory. So for example, I take this one here, you select a name, so let's see, new object here, and then you save. Okay. If you click here and select, so here's our new object. If you click in another object, let's say green stand, and import, here's the green stand. Okay. Let me just remove. Okay. So this is an object that I created before, and I can keep editing. I can keep changing this guy here. Is the information that I put before. So we could do the same for the new object that we created. So now I'm back here. I can get this new object that we just created. So new object here, and then it will be available for us in our new environment to be added. So I can put, let's see, I can put somewhere here. Okay. So that's how you can create a layout. You can manipulate this layout, and you can create objects and manipulate these objects. Here in the last tab, you can select which one of the object you want to be your robot. Okay, so in my case, I want this to be my object, so I can confirm here. And if you take a look here, the first element will always be the robot, but I could also select a different object. So now my gurney pad is my robot. It means that when I come here to my simulator, I didn't save. But if I do this process, so let me run again. Let me import. Let me come here, select green stand, confirm. So now my robot is the green stand. Okay, and then come here and save. So I save into that file. It means that once I come here to simulator, I run, I open layout Shanghai. Okay, open. And then my robot, now that's my robot, is my stand. So I can select which object you can use as your robot. Now let's make any movement here. Once I start, my stand will act as my robot. It means that you can create a robot with any shape, any type that you want. So this way you can simulate any environment, any task that you could use with your robot.